So in this lesson, what we're going to do is create a PowerPoint presentation as a kiosk using assets. So we're going to go over, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just prepare some artwork. What we've done is we've created some artwork here. We've gathered up some images. We've got some background images that we can use, as well as logos and product shots. So we're just going to add in some copy. We're just going to show a basic wireframe here and just a couple of things that you need to do. First thing you need to do is when you collect all these assets, when you download some of these logos, they might be coming in as an SVG, which is a scalable vector graphic, and what we really want is we want PNGs just for what we're doing here. So if you double click on this, it's going to open up just in a browser. If you right click on it and save picture as, you can drop it down and you can save it out to PNG. So by doing that now, we have that logo, and we now have that as a PNG, and we don't really need this anymore, so we can get rid of it. So here are our assets. Another thing that we need to do is we need to clean up the artwork so that it doesn't have a white box around it. So these cans, these product cans, actually have a white box around them because they're JPEG images. So what we're going to do is we're going to open them up in Photoshop, and we're going to just eliminate the white background. And to do this, I'm just going to open it in Photoshop, and now once this comes in, we've got this white area. I'm going to click on the magic wand tool, which is the easiest tool. I'm going to make sure my tolerance is around 20 to 36 or so. I've got 32 here, so that's fine. We don't want it too high because then it will grab the detail inside of the can. We just want to grab this white area here. So I'm going to take the magic wand and I'm going to click on, and you can see that I've gotten some of the edge here a little bit. We've gotten some of these bubbles here, so we can zoom in, and if we wanted to clean this up, a quick way to do this is quick mask mode, and that will allow us to go in and just take an eraser, and we can literally just erase away this selection area so that we can get to the edge of the can, or what looks like the edge of the can. So I'm just using a square brush, and I'm just kind of moving away here. I'm actually using the eraser tool, so I'm getting this edge. Another way to do this, just grab a selection tool, click. If we hold the Option key, we get this little rubber band, and we can click through, and then we can just hit delete. We're getting this. We can just click OK on that because we just want to delete out. When we're in quick mask mode, black adds, white takes away. So I'm going to deselect here, and now we've got this clean edge. I'm going to leave the water droplets. That's fine. And if we zoom out and we get back into selection mode here, we see that we've got the outline. And now the next step is we simply just double click on this layer to name it because it's a background layer. And then I just want to hit delete. And when I hit delete, now I go out to transparent. And the great thing about transparent is that when I bring this into PowerPoint or another application and it's saved as a PNG, it will have a transparent background, so we won't have that white halo, which doesn't really look good. So we can deselect this, and now when I hit File and I save as, I'm just going to save this can as a PNG. And when I do that, I'm going to save it right here. I'm going to use medium file size, and now I will have transparency. To create this kiosk, we've assembled assets in here. Everything needs to be large. So as we grabbed assets, we noticed that this asset was smaller. It's 400 by 320, so we're not going to use that as a full screen. Everything else is at least 1920, which is what we want in width. So that's good. Then we have our logos as PNGs, and we have our cans as PNGs. And now we're going to go into PowerPoint. We've created a new presentation. And if we go to the Design tab, we notice the slide size is widescreen. That's what we want. That will accommodate a 1920 slide. And that's what we want. So what we're going to do here is we're going to be able to insert the artwork relatively easy. We're just going to go to Insert, and we're going to go to Pictures. And when we do that, we're going to now drop in an image for our first slide as a background image. So we're going to take this, we'll insert it in, and now as this comes in, you'll notice that it's not large enough to fill up the screen. So I'm going to grab the corner, and I'm just going to scale it up a little bit, and we can look over here to see how it's going to frame out. So as we get it in, now we have a background image. We want it to fit the whole frame, and now we're ready to add some other elements. So we can move the slides around fluidly. Doesn't matter what order they're in now, but we're going to make 4 slides. We're going to make a main slide and then 3 product slides, just to kind of show these techniques on how to make this, and then you can expand this out for your own product, or obviously use your own artwork for whatever you're going to be doing. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be inserting in our artwork our buttons for our product. So we can do insert. Another way is to just open up the window. I'm going to pull the window here, and I'm going to be able to see my my elements. So I'm just going to grab this Coke logo. I'm just going to drop it in. When I drag it in, it comes in. And then I can do the same thing with these other logos. And I'm going to put the Sprite logo here. Now the Coke and the Sprite logo are the same size, but you'll notice the Diet Coke logo seems to be larger. So I'm going to just butt it up against the top there, grab the corner, and then PowerPoint will show me that I've got this at the right size, and now I can position it, and again by shift clicking I can move all of these, put them anywhere. I'm going to just leave them right here for now. Just a simple presentation. And now what we can do is we can then start to set up other pages, and we're not going to do any hyperlinking until the end. Easy way to do this is just duplicate the slide. Now we get another slide, and all we'll do is we'll click here, and we'll be able to delete this image. We've kind of got this junk back here, this default stuff. We can click on that, get rid of it, and now drop in another image for the next slide. We're going to just use all Coke themed images rather than the specific ones, but we'll try to vary it up with some color differences. So we'll go with this truck, and you notice this kind of fits perfectly. If we just go onto the image and we go to the home screen, we can go to Arrange, and we're going to send this to back so we can see our logos, and then we'll just right click, we'll duplicate slide one more time, click on, delete this, and now we can drop in another background image. And you'll notice that this doesn't fit the slide perfectly. That's okay. We're going to click on and grab the corner. Always grab the corner. Never grab the side. Always grab the corner. And now this will scale up, and we'll notice how this frames up. If we want this framed up a little bit so we can see that bottle cap on the bottom, that's perfect. And now we just have to send this to back. We'll duplicate this slide again. And we don't have to worry about repositioning these buttons right now. And we'll go in, we'll drop in this last image, and looks like this is framed up nicely. We're going to just go to the home screen, and we'll do arrange, and we'll send to back. And now we've got our screen. So one issue with this, so we're going to have a Coke screen, Sprite screen, Diet Coke screen. Even though they're all Coke images, it's just a background. So question is, how do we make these backgrounds not as prominent? So this is the home page. We can leave this the way it is, or we can start to manipulate it. One way to manipulate it is once you click on the image, if you click on the format button at the end, you'll get these different manipulations. You don't need any of these frames or anything. I don't think you need any of this. I mean, you could use it, but you could just keep it as an image. But one thing that you might want to do is you might want to manipulate using maybe some of these artistic effects, but you want to keep them consistent. So don't overdo them. It's just a way to kind of change your artwork up. This one's bubbles, kind of interesting for Coca-Cola. So we can maybe use that, use these bubbles here. I'll go on the second image. This is kind of nostalgic. So when I click on the image and then click on format, let me adjust color. So we've got these different color tones that we can play with, which are kind of nice. We can manipulate saturation, which is kind of interesting. We can add a color tint to this. We can just lighten this up, which is kind of nice. We can go full grayscale if we wanted to. And then you also have different colors that you can manipulate. So if you clicked more colors, now you have the ability to go in, play with different colors, and depending on what you pick, you can manipulate different tones and shades. Now this is grayscale, so you're not going to see that, but as we go in, again, we've got these different manipulations from color. So let's go with a grayscale. So I'll use grayscale here. I'll click on the next slide, click on the image itself, make sure I'm on format, color, and then I can do grayscale here, and now do the same thing. Click on the image, make sure you're on format, color, and then grayscale. Now, it gets a little confusing sometimes. There's a lot of buttons and things here, but again, to manipulate these, you're going to click on the slide, then on the image, format, and then you can start to play with these effects. And and if you needed to reset a picture, you can do that to get rid of some of these effects. But now we've got an open with the bubbles, and then we've got kind of this nostalgic black and white. So it's looking good. Now we're going to add some transitions. So transitions make the slides just look better when they move. Right now, if we click through, it's just going to do straight cuts. But transitions are kind of nice. Let's go to the transitions. We've got some different ones here. So say we did a fade in on the open. Then we have these different ones here. I'll just kind of show you. We can do a push. It pushes up. We can go to the next one where now we've got a wipe. And then we can even do something like this where we've got random bars, for example. So if we were going to go to the first slide, we can go down here at the bottom and we can test the slideshow. And now when I just click down, it goes to the next slide. goes to the next slide. So again, we see these different elements. We've got some transitions. So again, these are some things that you can do. Now we're going to add some product in here. And the way we're going to do that is simply go in. We have this artwork. We are on this first page. I'm going to drag in the Coke can. And I'm going to grab the corner. And now what I can do is I can lay this Coke can here. I can figure out where it's going to go. If you notice, I've got it lined up right underneath these buttons. And again, I can use my ruler at the top here just to kind of position this. And then I'll go in and I'll do the same thing with the sprite. So when I drag the sprite in, it's a little different proportion. So again, I'm going to grab the corner, and now I'm going to line this up. Now, if I wanted to look at size, I could click on the Coke can, and when the format picture box comes up, I can look to see that this is 3 inches by 2.25. So what I want to do then in here is I want to make this width 3 inches. I don't care about the height. I care about the width. So 3 inches. And now the positioning, again, we can even look at the position and position it horizontally, vertically, 0.96, 174. So if we go here and we go to our position, so that's actually where we want it to be horizontally, and then 174 vertically, and now these two are lined up. Even though the cans are a little bit different proportions, that's fine. And then we're going to do the same thing here with our Diet Coke can. So it's important to get these things lined up correctly. They have to be the right size. And again, we're going to grab the corner, and we're going to position this. We know that we had 3 inches on the top. And then our positioning. Just check it here. We would typically write this down, 0.96, 174. 0.96, 174. So we're perfect. So I'm going to save this up, and I made a folder called Coke Presentation. And now if we check this, go to the first slide, we'll play, and now as we just go down, here we are. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some text in here. How do we add text? We can just add a box and then add some text. In my Coca-Cola Images folder, you only see images. Typically, we would maybe go out to the Coca-Cola website and we can just grab this here just to use just this text. Obviously, you want to source your text. You want to give sources their due. But now we're going to be able to just drop this in. We're going to go to this first page. And if we go Insert, we're going to put in a text box. So we'll drag a box. And now when we paste this, here's that copy. Now, the copy we need to be able to see, and it has to look good. The text has to be a nice font that works here. We have to position it. So we have to think about where this is going to go. I'm going to drop this right here, but you'll notice that it's not easy to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to fill the back of the box. And then what's kind of nice about this is that if we fill it, we can then lower the transparency on it and also change the color. So say, for example, we wanted to use the Coke can color. We can do that, and then we can pull out the transparency, and then the font itself, if we highlight it, I'm not going to use the default font, excuse me. Let's go with this. This is kind of nice. This avant-garde. This is good. So I may not want this as black for contrast. Maybe I want it white. And let's see how it looks. And again, maybe we need to position it someplace else. Now, what else can go here? We can drop in a movie. We can drop in a video. For example, we can go to Insert, and now we go to Video. Now we can go to an online video, and if I go in, again, Coca-Cola, I'm just going to do videos. I'm going to just stop this here, and now we hit the share button. We want to just copy this. And if we go to drop in online video, we can do YouTube. So here it is. Drop it in. And now, if we go back, we haven't set up any navigation yet. We're going to have our video here with our text and our elements. And then we can play this. We could also, again, as I escape out of here, we could also drop in our own video. So if we insert video on my PC, then we can put in our own video. So if we make something ourselves, we can drop that in here as well. Okay. So this shows us how to lay the content on the pages. And now we're going to just look at how to link the pages. So we're going to just go to this home page. What we're going to be able to do, again, if we just play this, we're going to see we have content. And now we just have to add content to these other pages, which we're not going to do in this demo. And again, make sure the content is positioned correctly. Like, this really wasn't good right here. Maybe it needs to be lower. Again, we can pull the window out. We can pull the window in if we wanted this to be smaller. Maybe it works better like this. So it depends on what you're doing. Now, the next thing we have to do is link out. So once we have these buttons, we can just click on them, go to Insert, and we can go to Action. And when we do that, we're going to be able to link out to these different pages. So we're going to hyperlink to either next slide, right? Or if we hit slide, this will allow us to pick the number slide that we want. So rather than just doing next slide, we're going to hit slide, and we know we want to go to slide 2, which is Coca-Cola. And now we click OK. And again, we could play a sound when it hits that. Maybe it's the opening of a bottle or a you know, we'll just do a whoosh. And now it will go there, and then we can set up the next one. We're going to insert action, and this time we're going to hyperlink. We're not obviously going to the next slide. We're going to go to slide, and then we're going to go to the sprite. We can play a different sound just to kind of show you. And then this would be the last page. We have to link from here. So make sure that all the links are on the first page to go to these, and then you would have to set these to link back to the other pages. So that's why we do this all at the end, after we make sure the pages are set up. So right now we have our Coke, our Sprite, and now we're going to link our Diet Coke. So insert, action, hyperlink, slide, and again, you can go first slide, last slide, other. You can make a whole nother PowerPoint and go to that. You can go to a file. We're going to go to the next slide, and that's going to be slide 4, which is going to be the Diet Coke. And it gives you a little visual. We click OK. We'll pick a sound. Let's do applause. Okay. And now, just going to hit the save. And let's see if these work. So another thing that we would need to do is when we're on these pages, how do we get back to the home page? We'd have to have something to get back. So one thing that we can do is we could put a little home button here. We could put the Coca-Cola logo here. So if I jumped out to Google again, I'm going to just do Coca-Cola logo. And now we can grab any one of these. Okay, so I'm going to grab this one. It's a 570 by 540. That's good enough. I'm going to save the image as. It's going to be a JPEG. Now I want to show you another thing that we can do. Once I save that up, when I go and I insert this Coca-Cola logo, comes in, it's got the white background. What we can do here is we can take this, and if we wanted to, we could put a white bar to eliminate that. So another way to do this would be to put this logo here, and now I'm going to go to insert, and I'm going to insert a shape. I'm going to take a rectangle, and I'm going to go across the top. And now that rectangle, instead of it being blue, it could be white, no outline. And now we're going to take that and we're going to send it backward. And now we've got our Coke logo here. Obviously, we might have to move these down a little bit, and we could do that on every page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks, and then do that on every page. And what's nice is if we wanted to add this in, we don't really need this on the home page. So I'm going to shift click, and if I cut it, I go onto here, and now I paste it, it drops right in. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, paste it. I'm going to have to move it up here. It's actually at the end, the image is a little bit bigger. In the frame, it's fine. So that's good. We actually made a mistake. We don't want to move it up. It's because the image is larger than the screen. So just trust the paste and the thumbnail. And now we drop it in again. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to move this down a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you wanted to, you could crop out this image. If you wanted to just crop it, you could do that just to manipulate. If you go to crop, you can crop out the height, of this. But it's fine. We'll leave it the way it is. And now, when we go in, what we can do on this little button here is we can link back. So we're going to go to Insert, and we are going to go to an action, and we want to hyperlink to first slide, and just click OK. And now we want to make sure that our hyperlinks are on everything, action, first slide. And that's why we have to test this. We make sure everything's working. And again, there's ways to copy and paste to get around, the repetitive stuff. But sometimes the repetitive stuff is good because it helps you to make sure that you've done it correctly. So we're going to click OK. And now, save it up. Go to the first slide. And you'll notice our links. Let's go right to the Sprite page. Let's go to the other pages. Now you notice that it didn't go anywhere when I clicked off because there are no links on the other pages. So let's just try to go there and back. So we go to Coca-Cola, and now we go back home. So we'd have to go into these pages, and we'd have to link all of these elements to then create full interactivity. And once we do that, we can actually, once we have these, we can actually shift click. We'll copy them. And then when I go on this page, I'm just going to delete these, and I'm going to paste these in. And now when these come in, these should already have the hyperlink, and they do. So this is a little quick shortcut. So I'm going to go in, and again, we needed to do this all for design before. So we noticed that there are no actions on here. So we could do these manually, or delete, and then we paste. And we know that these actually have the actions. Okay, so now we have them in, and again, we can check our action by just clicking. And now I've quickly got this all linked up. I'm going to save it out, and now let's test it. So we go to Coke, and then we can go to Sprite, and then we can go to Diet Coke, and then we can go back to Coke, and then we can go back home. And that is how you create an interactive page and kiosk in PowerPoint. And again, you'd have to add in these different elements. You can take, this box, copy it, and then paste it in, and then change the text. Do the same thing here. Paste it in, change the text. Add different videos, add different content depending on what you'd want to do. Obviously, if you wanted to add in anything else, you can do that. But this then would be a touch screen, and a customer would come up, and they'd be able to click Coke or Sprite, and they'd be able to go. And on each one of these, again, you can do things to manipulate just so that they know that they're on this page. So I know that I'm on the Sprite page, even though there's a Sprite can here. Maybe we take this logo, and we can manipulate it in some way to show something. So if we go to the color, maybe we make it gray, or we gray it out so we know that we're on the Sprite page just when you get there. But then when we're here, that's green, and we know that now we're on that actual page. And that's a way that we could go through and differentiate each page so that you know that you're on that that particular page. So if we did that, and now we saved it up, we go to our home page, test it out, and go to Coke, go to Sprite, let's go to Diet Coke, and again, now we've got all of our interactivity. We want to go home, we can do that, and that is how we create this presentation. Save it out, and then you can do save as PowerPoint presentation. And then what you can also do is you can go in, and in the slideshow you can time this out so that screens are on at a certain time, and you can present it in various ways, but saving it out as a PowerPoint is the first thing that you would need to do. So that's how we set up a kiosk in PowerPoint with interactivity.